All right, strap yourselves in because today we're diving into some spicy territory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking male perspectives and all the expectations that come with that.
Sounds interesting.
You know those Fresh and Fit guys?
Oh, yeah, I know. Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, the YouTube channel, those guys.
Yeah, I've seen him.
They've got some pretty bold takes on male-female dynamics, we'll say.
Yeah, they definitely know how to get a conversation going.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
They get men and women together and just dive right into all that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Gender roles, dating, you name it. They're not afraid to tackle it head on.
And one of the things that really jumped out at me from from one of their clips was this idea that women have a tougher time being leaders.
Oh, interesting.
Like they struggle to step up and take charge, and they link it back to biology.
Biology. That's a bold claim.
They really do.
Interesting.
And in the video, they actually put it to the test.
Really? How do
Yeah.
they do that?
Yeah. So they asked the women who were part of the discussion, they're like, hey, do you believe authority is truly reciprocal between genders?
Whoa, that's a loaded question.
It is, right.
Yeah, I mean, it takes us right back to those traditional gender roles, doesn't it?
Totally.
Like, where men were the leaders, the decision makers,
Right.
and women were supposed to be more supportive, take a back seat.
Right, exactly.
But we've obviously come a long way from that, haven't we?
Yeah. Things have definitely shifted.
For sure.
But you can practically see the wheels turning for the women in the room when they get hit with that question.
Oh, I bet.
Some of them hesitate. Some are looking around like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Some are like fumbling over their words.
Oh, that's got to be so awkward.
It's a really telling moment.
It makes you wonder what's going on in their heads, right?
Right, yeah.
Like, is it that whole societal conditioning thing?
Could be.
Where women are praised for being agreeable and accommodating? So maybe speaking up, being assertive, it feels like, I don't know, rocking the boat a little bit.
Yeah, especially in that setting, right?
Yeah, you're surrounded by people who have really strong opinions.
Right, and you're outnumbered too.
Exactly. It's like you're being put on the spot in a debate you didn't even agree to.
And the Fresh and Fit guys, they don't miss a beat.
Oh, I bet they jumped right on that.
Oh, they're all over it. They're like, see?
Yeah.
Proof that women are natural followers.
Oh, come on. That's a bit of a stretch, isn't it?
It is a bit of a jump, yeah.
To go from hesitation to, like, a biological predisposition to follow.
Yeah, maybe it's not that black and white.
I think it's way more complex than that.
But then they take it a step further.
Oh, really? What do they say?
They start talking about attraction.
Okay.
And they say that men care way less about a woman's status than women care about a man's.
Now, that's an interesting angle.
Right. It really got me thinking.
Yeah, it's worth exploring.
I mean, there's some stuff from evolutionary psychology that could maybe shed some light on that. Like, you think about it historically, women often look for partners who could provide security, resources for themselves, for their children.
Makes sense.
And a lot of times that was tied to a man's status or wealth.
All right. Absolutely. But it's never that simple, is it?
You know, it's not that
I can't ignore all those social and cultural influences.
Right, exactly.
They play a huge role.
And it's not all just theory. They actually have this woman on the show.
Oh, okay.
And she shares this story about her boyfriend going through her phone
Oh, wow.
early in their relationship.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I was okay with it.
Wow, okay.
But she kind of implies that it was because of who he was.
Because of his status.
Yeah, like his status played a big part in her accepting that behavior.
That brings up a whole other issue, doesn't it?
It does.
The whole power dynamic thing in relationships.
Totally.
Like, was it really about his status?
Yeah.
Or was it more about feeling like she had to compromise to make the relationship work?
Yeah, it's tough to say.
It's really hard to know based on just one story, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But it definitely makes you think.
It does. It makes you think about how much we're willing to overlook, maybe even accept,
Yeah.
based on who someone is or how we see them.
Right, like how much does perception influence our boundaries?
Exactly. But hold on, because they don't stop there.
Oh, no. What else do they say?
They go on to say that women are way more likely to seek approval from their friends, especially when it comes to dating,
Okay.
while men are more independent in that area.
That's where things get really interesting, right?
It does.
Because social psychology tells us that we all want validation to some extent.
Right.
It's a human thing.
Yeah, we all crave it.
But how it plays out, you know, how we seek it,
Yeah,
that can be influenced by gender roles and cultural norms.
totally.
Think about the expectations on women versus men.
Oh, yeah.
They're still so different, even today.
They are.
It's a whole other layer to consider.
It is. It's a big one.
You know, it's important to remember these guys, they kind of have a reputation. for stirring the pot.
Oh, yeah?
They're not afraid to say things that'll get people riled up.
Yeah, they love pushing buttons.
Yeah, even if it means, maybe going a little too far sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it feels like they cross the line from, like, playful debate to straight-up hostility.
I see what you mean. There are definitely moments where their tone, it gets pretty aggressive, especially towards the woman they're interviewing.
Like when they just flat out call her a follower
Yeah.
because she wants a partner who can lead.
Oh, wow.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
It felt like they were trying to oversimplify things.
Right.
Like trying to force these complex relationship dynamics into these little boxes.
Yeah, like leader and follower.
Exactly.
But so much more nuanced than that.
It is.
Relationships are fluid.
Right.
They're constantly changing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And to reduce it all down to these rigid labels, I don't know, it just feels like it misses the whole point of human connection,
It's like they're saying that wanting a partner who's a leader automatically makes you a submissive person, which just doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't. And to her credit, the woman in the video, she pushes back.
She does.
You can hear the frustration in her voice.
Oh, yeah.
As she tries to explain her perspective.
Right.
But they keep interrupting her.
Yeah.
Twisting her words.
It's tough to watch.
It is.
You can see how she feels talked over.
Yeah.
Dismissed.
Exactly.
It's like a reminder that a real conversation, a productive one, needs to start with respect.
Absolutely.
Even when you disagree.
Even when you have totally different viewpoints.
Yeah.
And to her credit, again, she really stands her ground.
She does. She's strong.
She doesn't back down from expressing her thoughts, her experiences, even when they're challenged.
It shows resilience, for sure.
Definitely.
Especially considering she's outnumbered in that room.
Yeah, she's like one woman against a whole bunch of guys.
And it just goes to show that women aren't all the same.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they don't all think alike.
No.
Act alike.
Not at all.
There's a whole range of perspectives out there.
And that diversity is so important to acknowledge.
It is.
And you know what else she brings up?
What's that?
Something that often gets overlooked in these conversations. The importance of individual experience. She's like, look, these are my choices.
Yeah.
I don't let society tell me what to do.
Right.
I'm making my own decisions.
That's so powerful.
It is.
It's a reminder that we all have the power to shape our own lives.
Exactly.
Regardless of what society expects of us.
Regardless of gender.
Based on gender, yeah.
And while it's valuable to examine, the bigger picture, the societal trends, at the end of the day, we're all individuals.
Right.
Navigating our own paths.
Making our own choices.
Making choices that feel right for us.
And I feel like the Fresh and Fit guys, they get so caught up in these grand narratives about men and women that they miss those individual stories.
Yeah, I agree. It's like they're looking for evidence to support what they already believe.
Right. Instead of really trying to understand the complexity of human behavior.
Exactly.
Like, for instance, they use the fact that this woman, she was okay with her boyfriend going through her phone as proof that women prioritize a man's status over their own boundaries.
But come on, there could be so many reasons why she accepted that behavior.
Right.
Maybe she really trusted him. Yeah. Maybe she felt pressured to conform to, relationship norms.
Totally.
It's not fair to reduce her decision down to one single factor.
Right.
Like, oh, she just values his status, that's it.
It feels like they cherry pick examples to fit their narrative.
Right, without acknowledging all the other possibilities.
Yeah, all the other experiences out there.
Yeah. And that kind of selective reasoning, it can be really dangerous,
How so?
Because it reinforces stereotypes.
Yeah.
And it prevents us from having honest conversations about gender, about relationships.
Open-minded conversation.
Exactly.
Despite all that, I gotta admit, the woman in the video, she does make some good points.
Yeah, she does.
About the pressures and expectations women face.
Right. She talks about how women are judged more harshly.
Yeah, way more harshly.
Especially when it comes to dating and relationships.
For sure.
It's like there's this unspoken rule book for how a woman should behave.
Right. And if you step outside of that, you're going to get criticized.
Exactly.
And she pushes back against this whole idea that women are inherently followers. She's like, look, I can be a leader in some areas of my life.
Right.
And a follower in others.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation.
It depends on what I'm comfortable with.
Exactly.
I love that. She's showing that we're not limited to these rigid definitions of leader or follower.
We can be both.
We're multifaceted.
Right.
We can embrace different roles.
Depending on the context
Depending on the situation.
She even calls out the whole
Yeah.
men are logical, women are emotional thing.
Oh, yeah, that old chestnut.
She's like, come on, everyone uses logic and emotion
Right.
when they're making decisions.
Yeah.
Men can be just as swayed by their feelings as women.
And by groupthink.
I thought that was brilliant.
It was a really good point.
It challenges those stereotypes
Yeah.
that we've been fed for so long.
For centuries.
It's frustrating because while I don't agree with their approach at all,
Yeah.
I do think they stumble upon some interesting questions about the expectations and pressures that men and women face.
Right. It's like there are these unspoken rules.
Yeah.
These double standards.
Totally.
That we all kind of absorb,
Yeah.
whether we realize it or not.
Yeah, and it's worth exploring those
Yeah.
in a respectful way.
Yeah. In a nuanced way.
But that's not really their style.
Not really, no.
They're so focused on this idea
Right.
that women need validation
From men.
from society,
To society.
to feel good about themselves.
Yeah, they keep bringing up examples of women seeking approval
Right.
for their appearance.
Yeah.
Their dating choices.
Yeah.
Their opinions.
It's like they see a woman expressing her desire for a leader
Right.
as like a sign of insecurity.
Yeah, like she's not complete on her own.
Right. And their argument is
Mm-hmm.
that this need for validation makes women more susceptible to manipulation,
Right.
while men are somehow immune to it.
Yeah, because they just don't care what anyone thinks.
Which is a bit hard to believe, honestly.
It is a pretty big generalization, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, social psychology shows us that everyone is influenced by social norms.
Right.
And everyone seeks validation to some degree.
That is a human thing.
Exactly. It's not a gender-specific thing.
It's like they're trying to paint this picture of men as these
Right.
stoic, independent figures.
Driven by logic.
Yeah, while women are emotional and constantly
Needy.
needing approval.
Seeking approval.
Yeah,
Which, of course, is a harmful stereotype
totally.
that just ignores the reality.
The complexity of human experience.
Exactly.
But thankfully, the woman in the video,
Yes.
she doesn't let them get away with that.
She doesn't.
She's like, I'm confident in my choices.
I don't need your approval.
I feel good about myself.
Yes. She stands up for herself
She does.
and her right to make her own decisions,
Yeah.
even if they don't fit into the fresh and fit worldview.
It's inspiring to see
It is.
her pushing back
Yeah.
against their assumptions.
Asserting her individuality.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that even when we're faced with these strong opinions,
Right.
we can still hold on to our sense of self
Mm-hmm.
and make choices that feel right for us.
I think this episode,
Yeah.
despite all the,
Heated moments, questionable arguments.
Right.
It does raise some important questions.
Yeah.
About how societal expectations shape us.
Our behaviors,
Our choices.
our choices, especially when it comes to men and women.
Exactly.
It also makes us think about those gender stereotypes
Mm-hmm.
and how they can limit our understanding of ourselves and others.
I mean, it's clear that Fresh and Fit, they have a very particular worldview,
They do.
rooted in traditional gender roles.
And a very hierarchical approach to relationships.
Yeah, and they have the right to express that view.
Of course.
But it's crucial to remember
Yeah.
that their perspective doesn't represent everyone.
It's just one perspective.
Yeah, it's not the be-all and end-all.
Not at all.
And it's important to be aware of the potential harm
Right.
that can come from promoting these kinds of generalizations and stereotypes.
Especially on a platform with such a large audience.
Yeah, they have a lot of influence.
They do.
So we have to be careful.
We do.
You need to be critical.
We need to think for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that healthy relationships,
Yeah,
they're built on respect, open communication,
understanding.
not rigid roles or power imbalances.
Exactly.
So after this deep dive into the world of Fresh and Fit,
Yeah.
what's the biggest takeaway for you?
For me, it just reinforces the idea that gender and relationships, they're complex.
Yeah.
They're nuanced.
For sure.
And they're constantly evolving.
And there's no one right answer.
No, there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
It's a reminder to be aware of those societal messages,
Yeah.
those expectations
Right.
that can influence us.
But also to remember that we have the power
Yeah.
to challenge those expectations,
To rewrite the script.
to create our own paths.
Exactly.
And while it can be entertaining to engage with, this kind of content,
yeah.
that's provocative.
Mhm.
It's important to do it with a critical eye.
Right.
And to be aware of the potential harm
Yeah.
when generalizations and stereotypes are presented as facts,
As the truth.
as the absolute truth.
Well said.
It's amazing, isn't it? how one YouTube clip can spark so much discussion.
It really is. I mean, it gets people thinking about these societal norms, you know?
For sure. And we've talked a lot about the hosts and their views.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking about the women who participate in these conversations.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage.
Oh, definitely.
To sit there and engage with those guys.
Knowing you might be challenged.
Yeah, or even ridiculed.
Totally. And we have to acknowledge their resilience.
Absolutely.
They're putting themselves out there.
They are.
Sharing their experiences.
And sometimes pushing back against some pretty deeply ingrained ideas.
Yeah, about how women should behave.
Exactly.
And in this clip, I thought the woman did an incredible job.
Oh, she was amazing.
Of standing her ground.
Yeah.
I mean, she was outnumbered.
Outnumbered and facing some pretty aggressive questioning.
Yeah, but she didn't back down.
No, not at all.
She didn't shy away from expressing her opinions.
She didn't let them silence her.
Nope. And it's a powerful reminder, right?
Oh, yeah.
That women aren't a monolithic group.
Absolutely not.
Like, there's a whole spectrum of thought and experience there.
Just like with men, there's diversity.
Exactly. And I think she brought up a really important point.
Oh, what's that?
That often gets lost in these conversations about gender roles and societal expectations.
Yeah.
The impact of individual experiences.
Yes.
Like, she emphasized that her choices were her own.
She did.
And she wasn't going to let societal pressures dictate her behavior.
It's such a powerful message.
It is.
Of self-determination.
Yeah, it's a good reminder.
Right?
That we all have the power.
Yeah.
To shape our own lives.
Regardless of what society might expect from us.
Based on gender.
Absolutely.
It's easy to get caught up in those broader trends and generalizations.
Yeah, you can lose sight of the individual.
Right. But ultimately, we're all on our own unique paths.
Our own journeys.
Exactly. And those paths are influenced by so many factors.
Oh, yeah.
Not just gender.
It's way more complex than that.
Our experiences, our values, our beliefs, our circumstances.
It all shapes who we are.
And how we choose to live our lives.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So after all this back and forth,
right,
unpacking the Fresh and Fit episode.
What are we taking away from this deep dive?
Where do we land?
For me, it boils down to this. Gender and relationships are complex. They're nuanced, and they're constantly evolving.
They are. They really are.
There's no easy answer.
No one-size-fits-all approach.
Nope. We got to be aware of those societal messages.
Those expectations.
Right, the ones that try to influence our choices.
But we also have to remember
that we have the power to challenge them.
Yeah, to rewrite the script, to create our own path.
Exactly. And while these provocative discussions, they can be entertaining.
Oh, they are. They get you thinking.
They do, but we got to approach them with a critical eye.
Be mindful of the potential for harm.
Always prioritize respect and understanding.
Well said. So for you listening out there, how does all of this resonate with your own life?
Yeah, have you experienced these kinds of dynamics?
Have you felt that pressure to conform?
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Keep the conversation going.
Keep questioning, keep learning.
The world of relationships is always changing.
Always evolving.
There's always more to discover and understand.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back soon with more fascinating topics and thought-provoking conversations.